So I just played my finished Final Fantasy XVI redesign for you that we're going to spend some time breaking down today. As a reminder, I am a sound designer for game cinematics, but I don't work on the Final Fantasy franchise, and I didn't work on this game, Final Fantasy XVI. I specifically was looking for a magic or fantasy-oriented cinematic to redesign to help balance out my last two, which were the Top Gun and Warframe redesigns. And I was drawn to this one because stylistically it's really interesting. It's done almost entirely in blacks and blues with the occasional orange for flames. And I thought it would be a challenge to try and come up with what the sound of this blue magic would be and what this magic crystal glacier that kind of erupts from the ground would sound like. This is my unprepped Pro Tools session, so you can see the raw edit. All of the blue clips on the bottom are the made-from-scratch bespoke magic design that we're going to focus on today. I started building my palette against this specific scene, and there was something about the clean, crisp blue VFX that made me really want to focus in on the top of the frequency spectrum, and that means finding some shrill props. Next, I combined the wine rack and grill brush palette samples and brought them into phase plant so I could further shape them. So I have all the material for the tops of the scene. Now I need source for the launch and weight of this magic attack. So now, after a lot of editing, if I solo each layer of the scene, you should be able to hear where they all come from. And this is how they play all together. Once I had the palette to finish that scene, the rest of the redesign falls into place. So continuing to the next scene from the ground perspective attack, all I had to do was shape the magic palette into whooshes and incoming sounds. For the impacts on the ground, I combined the magic palette with my Wonderboard and Karmat material together into sharp transients. The design for the next scene came together even more quickly by shaping the Karmat material into warbles and pulling out the impacts with disperser. Then I just had to perform my magic palette over top using phase plan again. At this point in the project, I have a lot of material to play with for the Crystal Mountain scenes. I layered my magic palette together and slowly pitched it up to make it sound like the crystals were growing. The bottom half of this project is layering my Wonderboard and Karmat material with some extra rock, earth, and rumbles. Vocoding the magic and earthy groups together gives me lots of options for the Crystal Mountain sound. This Final Fantasy redesign is in somewhat of a modern magic style, and there's kind of an old-fashioned association that modern sound effects that are wide or warbly or have a lot of movement, that they can't be fantasy or magic, that they only work for sci-fi genres. And I think this is because for so long, sound design genre traits were driven by iconic Hollywood movies. We simply don't have a lot of contemporary Hollywood blockbuster examples of modern fantasy and magic. In 2024 though, we should be able to use modern design techniques comfortably in a fantasy or magic setting. Thankfully, a hybrid genre has emerged over the last 10 years that I kind of refer to as space magic. And it's a blend of sci-fi, magic, and superpowers. Outside of space magic, there hasn't been a lot of big budget fantasy films in Hollywood, and so in my opinion, I think a lot of modern magic sound design is being pioneered in video games. I really look forward to helping break with some of those traditions and trends and hearing video games shape what modern magic sound design becomes. I'm Brin, and thanks for listening.